Have you noticed there's a kind of being bothered that doesn't really come from the outside? It comes from inside, as if your mind has become thin. Sometimes nothing serious happened, but you wake up and every little thing scratches. A sharp word, a small delay, a noise, a headline, a comment, a look, a dry reply in. Suddenly the day loses its axis. It's not that you want to be like this. Nobody wants to live irritated. But without realizing it, you start living like someone who is always about to react, and that exhausts you. More than work, more than responsibilities, because it's an exhaustion of the soul, the nervous system, the heart. And the worst part is that this exhaustion changes your presence. You become more rigid, more defensive, more impatient, more suspicious, quicker to judge, slower to soften. Then one day you recognize yourself less. You feel like you lost a lightness you once had, or a lightness you never had but always wanted. That's why Stoicism isn't just an ancient philosophy. For many people, it's a rescue, a return to sobriety, a training in presence, a way of living without being a hostage to your own irritation. And today, I want to guide you through 12 Stoic lessons that when you truly hear them and apply them in real life change your presence. Not to turn you into a cold person who doesn't care, but to turn you into someone steady, calm, dignified almost, as if nothing bothers you. Because what bothers you no longer rules you. And if this feels like your season, if you're tired of being triggered by small things, tired of carrying unnecessary weight, then right at the start I'll invite you into the practice. Not as random promotion, but as part of the training. Subscribe to the channel, leave a like, comment below what kind of annoyance knocks you off most right now. Difficult people, criticism, anxiety, injustice, hurry, family tension, money, loneliness, and share this with someone you love who lives with nerves on the surface, trying to look strong outside while being worn down inside. Sometimes the best help you can give someone is a reminder, because irritation is often forgetfulness, forgetting your center before any lesson. Let's make one thing precise. Act like nothing bothers you does not mean acting superior, numb, or indifferent. It means acting like someone who has recovered inner command, acting like someone who learned not to hand their peace away like currency. Because here's the plain truth. Most people trade peace all day long. They trade peace for approval, for control, for being right, for recognition, for avoiding discomfort. And life, which was never designed to obey our preferences, tests this through small moments. When your center lives outside of you, any wind drags you. When your center lives inside you, the wind still exists, but it doesn't take you. That is presence. That is maturity. Lesson 1 is simple in words and radical in effect. Separate what happens from what you say about what happens. Most irritation isn't the fact, it's the interpretation. It's not the delay. It's the inner story of disrespect. They're wasting my time. Nothing works. I can't take this. It's not the criticism. It's the story. I'm not enough. I'm incompetent. Nobody values me. It's not the difficult person. It's the story. Life is against me. I have to teach them a lesson. I can't be disrespected. Notice, the fact is, one arrow. The story is the second arrow, and it's almost always the second arrow that poisons you. The Stoics said it clearly. It isn't the event that disturbs you, it's the judgment you attach to it. Once you understand this, you regain freedom because you stop being a hostage to everything that happens, and you start noticing there is space between stimulus and response. That space is your power. Your presence changes when you learn to live inside that space. You breathe before reacting. You ask, is this real lore? Is this interpretation? Is this factor? Is this a movie? Is this truly serious, or is my pride trying to drive? That movement alone dissolves half the irritations, because half of them were excess exaggeration, fear disguised as certainty, ego trying to control the world. Lesson 2 is the most Stoic foundation of all. Remember, daily, what depends on you and what does not. It sounds basic, but it's the base of steadiness. Irritation grows when you try to control what you cannot control. Other people's moods don't depend on you. Traffic doesn't. The past doesn't. Everyone's opinion doesn't. Other people's choices don't. The world's changes don't. When you place your peace in what doesn't depend on you, you are essentially asking to live anxious, frustrated, irritated, because the world will shift, fail, contradict you. What does depend on you? Your intention, your character, your your discipline, the way you respond, the tone you use, the limits you set, your care for the body, what you feed your mind. This depends on you. When you place your peace here, your presence changes because you stop feeling powerless. You realize, I can't control this out there, but I can control who I will be in front of it. That is quiet strength no one can take from you. You walk through the day with less tension in your chest because you stop trying to govern the universe. You govern your corner of freedom, and That corner is enough for a dignified life. Lesson 3. Don't confuse being bothered with urgency. Some people live as if everything requires an immediate response. A comment becomes an emergency. A critique becomes a war. A small problem becomes the end of the world. This is an emotional addiction. The addiction of treating whatever touches the ego as high importance. The Stoic learns to shrink drama not because they minimize life, but because they value life too much to waste it on small things. They ask, will this matter in a month? Will this matter in a year? Is this worth my peace for a week? Is this worth me becoming a worse version of myself? Those questions change your presence because they shrink the ego and grow wisdom. And no, this doesn't mean swallowing everything and accepting everything. It means choosing the right measure. The right measure is the line between a mature spirit and an infantile mind. The infantile mind reacts as if every annoyance were an existential threat. The mature spirit knows life is too big to become hostage to any detail. Lesson 4 is one almost nobody wants to hear, but it heals. Irritation is often an identity habit. You get used to being the one who complains, the one who criticizes, the one who gets annoyed, the one who's always right, the one who always has a reason to be dissatisfied. It becomes a way to feel alive, in control, superior, protected. The price is brutal. You lose peace, lightness, pleasure in simple things, the ability to be okay without a reason. Stoicism invites a rare honesty. Am I feeding my irritation because I don't know who I am without it? That question hurts, but it opens a door. Because once you see irritation as habit, you realize it can be unlearned. You can choose a different identity. The person who observes before reacting. The person who doesn't need to be right to be worthy. The person who doesn't need to win arguments to feel dignified. And when you choose that identity, your presence changes not because the world got better, but because you stop holding your own poison like it was protection. Lesson 5. Turn irritation into training, not into command. This is one of Stoicism's most powerful moves. The obstacle becomes the path. If something bothers you, instead of using it as permission to react, you use it as a chance to practice virtue. The line bothers you. Patience, training. The critique bothers you. Humility and discernment. Training what's true here, what's exaggerated, what's projection. Rudeness bothers you. Temperance training, I won't return it on impulse. I'll choose firmness without venom. Injustice bothers you. Justice training, I'll act without becoming revenge. Lack of control bothers you. Active acceptance training, I do what I can and release the rest. This changes your presence because irritation stops being an enemy and becomes a teacher. And once irritation becomes a teacher, it loses the power to humiliate you. You stop being someone who gets beaten up by the day and become someone who trains inside the day. This isn't romanticizing suffering. It's refusing to waste suffering, using what came to grow instead of using what came to destroy yourself. Lesson 6. Set boundaries without hatred. Many people think the only way to not be bothered is to become hard, aggressive, controlling. But that's just irritation. We're in a costume. Stoicism teaches something rarer. Clean firmness. A boundary without poison. You can say no without humiliating. You can step back without destroying. You can protect yourself without becoming bitter. You can end a conversation without a performance. Your presence changes because you stop being trapped between two bad options. Swallow everything and resent it, or explode and regret it. There is a third path. Calm positioning. Calm positioning is a sign of real maturity. I respect myself, but I won't become a monster to prove it. Lesson 7. Don't be shocked by people being human. A huge portion of irritation is childish expectation. You expect coherence, maturity, gratitude, fairness, politeness, sensitivity, and when you don't get it, you go into shock, and shock destabilizes you. The Stoic isn't cynical. They are realistic. They understand the human being is often a battlefield. Many people are wounded, insecure, afraid, vain, needy. Many will act from that place. So instead of being shocked, the Stoic prepares. They don't normalize injustice, but they also don't act as if difficult people are a personal betrayal against their existence. They learn to say, this is human. And when you can say this is human, your presence changes because you stop burning energy on endless indignation. You put energy into strategy, boundaries, choice. You become lucid without becoming bitter. Lesson 8. Don't place your peace in other people's opinions. If there is a constant source of modern irritation, it's image slavery. You want to be seen a certain way, understood, respected, recognized, validated. And when it doesn't come, you tighten, shrink, over-explain, try to prove yourself, try to control narratives. That is a prison. Because other people's opinions are wind. They change. They're filtered. They're contaminated by the other person's pain and limitations. Stoicism returns your center with one inner sentence. I will be guided by conscience, not applause. That doesn't mean you don't care about anyone. It means you don't abandon yourself to please everyone. You can listen, learn, adjust, but you don't live inside opinion. When you leave this prison, your presence changes. You become simpler, more whole, lighter. You stop explaining yourself to death. You stop trying to win narratives. You start living with more truth. Lesson 9. Understand that self-control isn't repression, it's freedom. Some people think Stoicism means swallow everything and become someone who never expresses anything. That's not it. Self-control is governing your tongue, your impulse, your drama. It's feeling anger without becoming anger. Feeling fear without becoming panic. Feeling sadness without becoming surrender. Feeling irritation without becoming aggression. That changes your presence because you stop being a puppet of your emotional state. You become someone who feels and chooses. Feels and chooses. Feels and chooses. Let this sentence enter you. I feel, but I choose. That is Stoicism in motion. It isn't denying emotion. It's refusing to give them the throne. The throne belongs to character. The throne belongs to conscience. And when you place character on the throne, you start living with dignity that doesn't depend on the day being easy. Lesson 10. Stop ruminating. Rumination is irritation extended. The event ended, but your mind keeps chewing. Yesterday's conversation, a sentence, a look, a small injustice. Your body is in the present, but your mind is trapped. It steals life, sleep, health, joy. The Stoic learned something that looks simple and is revolutionary. Mental closure. Learn, adjust, release. The past is not a place to live. It's a place to learn. Rumination is trying to change the past with thought like pushing a door that will never open again. It doesn't open. It only injures you. When you learn to release, your presence changes because you stop carrying pieces of yesterday inside today's body. You become more present, and presence is the greatest protection against chronic irritation. Lesson 11. Care for your nervous system. As part of philosophy, this matters. You can have perfect ideas, but if your body is constantly in alert mode, you'll be more irritable. Poor sleep, too much news, too many screens, short breathing, excess caffeine, no movement, your system stays on. Stoicism is living according to nature. Human nature needs rhythm, pause, breath, simplicity. So, a Stoic presence isn't only mental, it's bodily. It's learning to lower the inner volume, learning silence, learning not to live in constant stimulation. This becomes intensely practical. What you consume, what you watch, how much you scroll, how long you stay inside, outrage content, how often you let your mind rest, your presence changes because you stop being a hostage to informational chaos. You stop feeding indignation as if it were food. You become selective. And selectiveness is maturity. Lesson 12 is the deepest, and it's the one that changes everything. Remember that time is too short to waste your soul on being bothered? The Stoics spoke of finitude soberly, not to depress you, but to wake you. When you remember your life is limited, you choose your battles better. You choose your thoughts better. You choose your words better. You stop trying to win useless arguments. You stop holding grudges for years. You stop treating small annoyances like the center of the universe. You start asking, is this worth my peace? Is this worth me becoming worse? Is this worth losing a night of sleep? And when the answer is no, you let go, not because you're weak, but because you're wise. You let go because you respect your time. You let go because you understand life passes and doesn't return. This awareness changes your presence because it shrinks the ego and enlarges what matters. It brings you back to the essential. And what matters is almost never the provocation, it's your integrity. It's your character. It's your ability to end the day still respecting yourself. Now notice something. These 12 lessons aren't concepts to admire. They're choices to practice. And practice means you will fail sometimes. You will get irritated. You will react. You will be bothered. And then you return. Returning is the secret. The secret isn't never being bothered. It's not living inside the bother. It's not making irritation your home. Because when irritation becomes your home, it becomes your personality. It becomes your destiny. And you weren't made to live like that. You were made to live with presence, clarity, dignity. Let me give you an image you can carry through the day. Imagine there is a room inside you. In that room, there is a chair. That chair is your center. Whoever sits in that chair governs your life in that moment. If anger sits, you become attack. If fear sits, you become flight. If anxiety sits, you become control and hurry. If pride sits, you become rigid. If resentment sits, you become bitter. Stoic practice is simple. You sit, you return to the chair. Emotions can enter the room, but they don't get the chair. You listen to what they say, but you decide. That is presence. That is acting like nothing bothers you, not because nothing happens, but because nothing takes command without your permission. How do you return to the chair in real life? Through small, choices. When someone provokes you and you breathe before replying, you return. When you receive a sharp message and decide not to interpret it as an attack, you returned. When something goes wrong and you choose the next step without drama, you returned. When you catch yourself ruminating and say, "It's done, learn and move forward," you return. When you feel irritation and choose not to spread it onto someone innocent, you returned. When you set a boundary without hatred, you returned. When you choose conscience over applause, you return. The center is built this way. Return after return. Not mystical discipline. Maybe you're thinking, but I've been like this for years. My mind is restless. I get irritated. I explode or I swallow and get sick. I don't know how to be different. I understand. But here's something honest. You are not this way. You are this way right now. There's a huge difference. You are not your reactivity. You're in a reactive state. You are not your irritation. You're irritated. You are not your anxiety or anxious. Stoicism gives your freedom back right there. You can feel it without becoming it. You can be touched without being governed. That is real. Hope, not fantasy hope. Practice hoping. And one thing changes your presence quickly once you begin practicing. You realize irritation is often a way of trying to control the world so you don't have to feel insecurity. You get bothered because you want things your way. You want predictability. You want people to be fair. You want life to reward your effort. But life isn't a contract. It doesn't sign guarantees. When you accept this not as resignation, but as clarity, you become freer. You stop demanding reality obey you so you can have peace. You start building peace that doesn't depend on that. That is Stoic peace. Peace with a spine. Here's a simple practice to make these lessons alive. Tomorrow morning, before you open your phone, before you open the world's urgency, make a quiet pact. Today, I will care for what depends on me. Today, I will release what doesn't. Today, I will watch my judgments. Today, I will shrink drama. Today, I will use irritation as training. Today, I will set boundaries without hatred. Today, I will not be shocked by people being human. Today, I will not place my peace in other people's opinions. Today, I will feel and choose. Today, I will not ruminate. Today, I will respect my nervous system. Today, I will remember my time is precious. That is a way to enter a day. And when you enter like that, your presence changes not because you became perfect, but because you became conscious. Throughout the day, when the first annoyance comes, and it will, because life is life, ask a question that works like a golden key. What I'm about to do, does it move me closer to my center or farther from it? Every impulsive reaction takes you away. Every conscious response brings you back. Right before you explode, ask it. Right before you send that message on impulse, ask it. Right before you turn a detail into a storm, ask it. This question changes your presence because it gives you the steering wheel back. And suddenly, life becomes less of a war and more of a passage. One more sensitive point. Some people get bothered a lot because they carry old pain that wasn't seen, that turned into irritation, impatience, control. Here Stoicism meets something deeply human. You don't heal irritation only with thinking. You heal irritation with presence, with emotional honesty, with refusing to abandon yourself. Sometimes you're irritated with the world because you're irritated with yourself because you keep postponing, betraying yourself, not respecting your own conscience. And then everything triggers you. Stoicism calls you back to self-respect. And self-respect is deep armor. A mind that respects itself has ground, access, direction. It doesn't live begging validation. And when you respect yourself, you'll become less defensive. You don't need to attack to protect. You don't need to shout to exist. You don't need to prove to be worthy. You simply are. And being is a presence. Being is a way of walking. Being is a way of looking. Being is a way of breathing. That's what these 12 lessons build. A calmer, firmer, more dignified self. A self that understands the world can be loud, but it doesn't have to be. A self that understands people can be difficult, but it doesn't need to become difficult too. A self that understands problems exist, but it doesn't need to become a problem. A self that understands the world isn't under your control, but your presence is. Let me end by giving you one sentence to carry as a simple reminder, something that fits in the pocket of the soul and summarizes the spirit of it all. Nothing bothers me without my permission. Not in an arrogant way, as if you were invincible. In a sovereign way, as a reminder that between the world and you, there is space. And in that space, you choose your interpretation, your tone, your action, your dignity, your character. Repeated when the day tightens. Repeated when someone provokes you. Repeated when anxiety tries to drive. Nothing bothers me without my permission. And then return to what depends on you, to your breath, to the next right action, to the chair, to the center. If you want to make it real, comment one word, present, not for me, for you. Like leaving a note for your own mind. I will change how I move through my day. And if this helped, share it with someone who lives irritated and tense. Tired of always being bothered. The world already weighs enough. Life already demands enough. You don't need to add extra suffering with the second arrow. You don't have to live as a hostage to annoyance. You can live as someone who feels and chooses, and when you choose, you change your present. You change your posture. You change your life the way life truly changes from the inside. First,